Alrighty, this is the 2023 version of the Quiz 5.1 review. So let me go ahead and start off with this. Now remember, the quiz is going to go over 5.1 and 5.2. And you really need to know how to read a congruent statement and apply CPCTC. So if I have these two triangles, we'll call them triangles cow and LMN. Well, this here is your given. This is your given, and it's something that you can assume because right off the bat, we're given a statement where these two triangles are congruent. And if these two triangles are congruent, you're going to apply CPCTC, which stands for corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So, let's go ahead and take a look at these examples over here. If I said angle O is the second position, okay, of this triangle, what's congruent to angle O? Well, it would be M because it's in the second position of this triangle, just like O for this triangle. So since O is the second position, I look at the letter with the second position. In this case, it'd be M. So I write angle M is congruent to angle O. And how did I know that those two things are congruent? Well, first of all, you have a given. You can assume that these two triangles are congruent. And if these two triangles are congruent, you apply CPCTC. So this occurs by CPCTC. Okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at segment CW. So CW, and the fact that C is in the first position, W is in the first position, then I need to look at the other triangle where you look at the first letter and the last letter, just like CW here. So in this case, segment LN is congruent to segment CW. That's the answer. CO, first two letters, LM, first two letters. So that's your answer, segment LM. And again, we were using CPCTC. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at this example for questions 4 and 5. Use the figure to the right. In the figure, triangle LMN is congruent to triangle QRS. So this is your given. Okay. So that's your given. That means you can apply. So apply CPCTC. So I'm going to go ahead and find X. So X is associated to segment LM. We can agree with that, right? So this is associated to LM. So LM is the first two letters. Now I need to take a look at the first two letters of this triangle. In this case, it's QR. So we know that segment LM and QR, they correspond. So I take this and set them equal to each other. So it's 2x plus 1, or sorry, 2x plus 11 equals 3x minus 9 minus 2x on both sides. So I get, what, 11 equals x minus 9. Then I add 9 on both sides. So x is equal to 20. Okay, so that's me finding x. I'm done with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and find y. So where's y? Y is, okay, I can see you got to be very, very careful because it looks like y plus 10 is part of MN. It's not. It's y plus 10 degrees. It's part of this angle here, angle M. So looking at the congruency statement, angle M is the second position. So I need to look at the second position of this triangle, which is indeed R. CPCTC, y'all. So MR, you set those two things equal to each other. So y plus 10 equals 2y minus 40. So I'm going to add 40 on both sides, and I'm going to subtract y on both sides. I get 50 is equal to y, and that's my answer. Okay? So that's me applying CPCTC. And we saw that angle M is congruent to angle R. I'm going to color code so that can help you. You can pause the video and then use this time to synthesize all that information. Okay? All right. So we need to look at some examples here. And I'm just scrolling down, telling you that you're going to have to identify the triangles, whether or not they're congruent, using those shortcut methods, right? Remember, we were talking about side, 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 angle, angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Okay, so these were the 4 shortcut methods that you need to know and how to use them. And then there might be a case where you can't use these. If none of these apply, then you're gonna say not possible on the quiz. Potentially, you might have something like that. Okay, so let's take a look at number 8. This is pretty easy. Okay, so I can see that these 2 triangles are indeed involved. Now, are these 2 triangles congruent? Well, I see that there's a tick mark here and a tick mark here, okay? Only one for each. So, since they do correspond and they are congruent, this side and this side are congruent, I'm gonna write a little S here and an S here, okay? Because I'm dealing with sides. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this segment here. Got 2 tick marks. So this segment also has 2 tick marks. So they are indeed congruent because they have 2 tick marks. And then over here, you got 3, 3. So I write S and S. And I'm going to go all the way around. I say there's an S here and an S here. There's an S here. And, oh, wait, sorry. The S here, S here, S here, S here, S here, S here. So side, 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 side. So these 2 triangles, are congruent by the side, side, side theorem. Postulate, I don't remember, but side, side, side is enough. Over here, we can see that 1 arc here, 1 arc there. So I'm going to write angle, angle. So these 2 things correspond. I got a side here and a side here, or sorry, 1 tick mark here, 1 tick mark here. We're talking about the side, this side. So these 2 sides here are congruent. So S, S. 2 arcs here, 2 arcs here. So A here and an A here. Okay, so this is how I'm going to read it. Angle, and then, oh, we are dealing with the side here. Angle. So angle, side, angle. Then I'm going to, since I started with 1 arc, I have to start with 1 arc over here. So angle, side, angle. So these 2 triangles are congruent by the angle, side, angle postulate or theorem, whatever it is. Okay, so this one's a little tricky. Why? Because you have to understand stuff from Unit 1. We're not going to forget stuff from Unit 1. Why? I see vertical angles. I'm going to mark that. 2 arcs this time because there's 1 arc, 1 arc. So that means you need to use 2 arcs here to tell whoever you're showing or the grader that these angles are not congruent, but these angles are, okay? Now let me go ahead and start labeling things based on correspondence, right? This angle here, this angle here, they're congruent, so we're dealing with angles, so A, tick mark here, dealing with the side, so S here and an S here. These 2 angles are congruent, so they correspond, so I write an A here and an A here. So it looks like I'm dealing with angle, side, angle, angle, side, angle. So they're congruent by the angle, side, angle postulate, theorem, whatever. Okay, that's number 3. This one, we got 2 triangles. You can see there's a triangle here and a triangle here. And these 2 triangles actually share a side, right? And when they share a side, it looks like this. It shares something like this. This is me detaching, or, you know, me splitting those triangles apart. So this side and this side, if I were to glue them back, you would get something like this. So they are congruent because this is where you use the reflexive property, right? So 3 tick marks this time because there's already 1 and 2 being used, so you're going to use 3. So let me go ahead and start labeling things. So we're dealing with tick marks, 1 tick mark here, 1 tick mark here. So they correspond. So these sides deserve an S. 2 tick marks here, 2 tick marks here. So they deserve a little S for both of them. And then here, this triangle deserves an S. This triangle deserves an S. So why did I write 2 S's here? Again, we're dealing with 2 triangles. So this S goes with this, and then this goes with this, right? And they share a side. So I have a side, side, side. And I started over here, right? So side, side, side. Both congruent by the side, side, side. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at this last one. Vertical angles are... What do I put? 1 arc here, actually? Yeah, 1 arc here and 1 arc here. Okay, here we go. Side, side, because 1 tick mark there, 1 tick mark there. Angle, angle, because they share the 90 degrees. And we cannot forget the vertical angles here. So angle, angle. Okay? So, this looks like a angle. No. Sorry. I mean, it's actually this. Angle, angle, side. Okay? And then since I started here, I need to start here as well. I can't start here and say angle, angle, and then... because you're going to ruin the consistency. Or actually, yeah, I think you can. Look, angle, angle. No, that's kind of weird. It would be, if you do this, if you do angle, angle, there's no side, right? So start here, it goes like this. So let's pause and repeat what I just said. Angle, angle, and the side right after. And then since I started here, I need to start here and then follow the same direction. Angle, angle, side. Okay? One more time. You start here, you have an angle, angle, side. And then since I'm starting here, since I started here, I got to start here for this triangle. So angle, and then follow the same direction towards that vertical angle, angle, side. So these 2 triangles are congruent by the angle, angle, side postulate or theorem. Okay? Alrighty, let me go ahead and make sure that we understand how to write a congruency statement. If I can pull up the notes. So you need to make sure that you know how to write a congruency statement. What I might do is I might just take a clip from the 5-1 homework help video and just paste it right there so you know how to write a congruency statement. Okay? All right, good luck. For number 1 and number 2, show that the polygons are congruent by indicating all congruent corresponding parts, then write a congruent statement. So, for number 1, I have these 2 triangles, and my goal here is to see whether or not the corresponding parts are congruent, and if I meet those conditions where you have the corresponding angles congruent and the corresponding sides congruent, then I can go ahead and write a congruency statement. So, we can start off with Y because it has 1 arc, and we can see that S has 1 arc, so angle X is indeed congruent to angle S. We know for sure that, what did I say? I meant to say Y, not X. So Y is congruent to S, X is congruent to R. So angle X is congruent to angle R. And then this one is the tricky one. We can see that these two angles, they share the same vertex, Z. So we know that angle Z is congruent to angle Z. Then I look at the sides. We know those two things are congruent, so segment XY is congruent to segment RS. And then we can see that segment XZ is congruent to segment RS. And then lastly, segment YZ is congruent to segment ZS or SC. I'm just going to say SC. Doesn't really matter. And there you go. Now that I show that the angles that correspond are congruent and the segments that correspond are also congruent, I can go ahead and write a congruency statement. So you can call this triangle XYZ. Okay, so triangle XYZ. It doesn't really matter what you call this. You can call it triangle XYZ or triangle XZY or ZXY. Like, it doesn't really matter. But what does matter is the stuff that comes after the congruency symbol. So whatever corresponds with X, this is what you have to write. In this case, it's R, right? X is congruent to R. So it'd be triangle R, Y, so it's S right after, and then Z. And that's how you write a congruency statement. Okay.